get Erick Weber. Erick Weber is going to join the live stream here. Erick, are you on camera?
No, you just have me audio here. I'm running around LA, and I said, I promised I would debate you live, and I'm here in only voice form.
Well, dude, come on, man. Like, where you gotta, you don't even have a picture uploaded.
Yeah. Well, just put me on. Just get rid of it. Make it two of you, and you can hear my voice, right? You can do that with StreamYard.
We can hear you perfectly.
Good. All that's right. Good.
Put the weight down.
Listen, we got to talk. Listen, we got to talk about Ant-Man. And the first thing I want to mention is this breaking news. This film did 17.5 million last night. Okay, that is more than Avatar 2. So those people out there saying this film is mid, this film's going to underperform, right off the bat, this morning, you look silly. This film is doing very well, and it also has the long weekend. I'm telling you, it's going to perform very well this weekend.
Well, important question people want to know, does Erick have pants on?
Dude, I have pants on. I do not have I'm going to put my leggings on soon to go to the gym, but I do not, I'm not pantless.
All right, well, that's good. Well, the center square on the bingo card for your YouTube channel, which is Midnight Movie Talk, is going to the gym. That literally is the free space in the center, because you mention it every stream.
I'm sorry. Hey, no, but Alan just said, does he have tights? Is he at the gym? So he started it. Alan started it.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, we have some questions and comments coming in. Jinx says, "Who is this Marvel simp? Alan has competition."
No. Listen. The funny thing is, whoever that is, I can't see. Is it Jinx? Listen, Jinx. Here's the deal. If you know anything about me, and clearly you don't, the last thing I am is a simp / shill. The last thing. Anything that I put my name to in a review is going to be, I believe, 120% that this film is entertaining. It delivers what you want out of it. And if you're an MCU freak, if all you do is ingest CBM films, then you might have an issue. But for the rest of us that just want to be entertained for 2 hours and watch a comic book movie and don't expect it to be the next Citizen Kane, this film is fun. And so please get to know me before you come on and call me a simp. That is ridiculous. And Chris, you know that. Chris, please say something here. The last thing I am is that. Literally, you can name a million other things. That's the last thing.
Erick does on his show. He has a segment called Shill of the Week. So there you go. Erick, you're getting, I don't know, a lot of people in the chat. Alan, can you keep starting these? Because some of these questions are.
Yeah, I am.
Jens Anderson of the Tall says he is high if he thinks this will do well.
Well, first of all, are you paying attention to the number this morning? I mean, I just told you it made 17.5 million this last night in the States, domestic number. That is bigger than Avatar 2. Avatar 2 was 17, so we're 500,000 over that. We're 500,000 under Dominion, which opened to 143, somewhere in that range. So remember, those of you saying it was going to be under 100 right now, based on the Thursday number, and usually these numbers always work. It does not happen. Pretty much, I can't even think of any instances where we've had a Thursday number that came out like a 17.5 and ended up being under 100. This film is doing well, and if you don't like it, it sounds like there's a lot of people out there have personal grudges against Marvel or against Ant-Man. You gotta stop doing that. My number one rule in film, and Alan knows this, that's why I really appreciate Alan, and we always have great conversations. He is absolutely zero bias. He is objective. He goes into a film the same way I do. Let's just watch the end result. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there that carry in agendas and what they expect out of a film. And it's just best to just let the film wash over you and evaluate it as such.
Yeah, I mean, I've said about this film, the film is a mess. To me personally, watching it, it's a mess. But I understand that people are going to like the wall-to-wall action of this movie, the world that it builds, and I liken it to Fast and Furious. That's another CG-heavy film. It's nothing but action, and I think that appeals to the normies, the masses, the people who are not exactly comic book fans like us.
And there's nothing wrong. Listen, guys, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, occasionally, it's okay to enjoy a film like Ant-Man and not tear it apart and have these, issues that you have. If you're a hardcore, MCU, DCU comic book fan, and this is all you watch, then maybe you're going to have a different viewing experience than I had. But it is more in line with a Fast and Furious. But I'll say this, it's certainly much better filmed than Fast 9. I mean, that film is horrible. And I think
still made a lot of money.
Also, it did. Listen, I mean, you can't argue that. But it's. I'll tell you, I'd rather watch Ant-Man. In fact, I watched Ant-Man twice. Second time last night. Ant-Man 2 is hella better than Avatar 2. Ant-Man 3 make that. I mean, it is. Ant-Man 3 is a much more entertaining, tighter film, better beats. Everything about it is better than Avatar 2. Everything. I would even argue the effects are almost as good. I mean, I understand Avatar, but at some point, Avatar, you just get lost. It's a numbness you experience when you watch that film.
All right, what did you think of MODOK?
Here's the deal. I don't know MODOK's history. I didn't go in there knowing that he was this ultimate killing machine. I just go in and I go, that's funny. I liked it. See, so it's a different space I'm coming from. If you're coming from the space that you expect MODOK to be, something from, different than what they present here in Ant-Man 3, then you're going to be pissed. I get it. But you have to understand, for the rest of us who don't consume only movies made, about comic books, it was fine. It worked. The comic relief works here, and so does, I think, a lot of it. I don't really have any major issues with this film. I don't.
Hated it.
So you're getting murdered in the chat here.
Yeah, the chat. Let's go to these comments.
Listen. The cinema score is going to come out tonight. It's going to be a good grade. I'm telling you. No one's equating financial success with the merits of a film. I mean, Tar, great example, just mentioned it. Tar was a bomb, did not make jack for box office. After Sun, not a huge, these are great films. So no, it doesn't matter. But what I'm saying, what I want to leave it with is the people that said that Ant-Man 3 was going to just absolutely tank this weekend and wasn't going to do well, right now, based on that Thursday number, we're looking at a big weekend, and it has Monday as a holiday. So it's going to be a good, strong weekend for Disney here, and it's doing well already internationally as well.
All right. Well, look, Eric, next time you come on, can you be on camera or at least put an avatar so people know who you are? I want them. No, I just want them to know your channel. Subscribe to Midnight Movie Talk. Midnight Movie Talk with Erick Weber. That's ERICK. Subscribe to his channel. He does a show twice a week. It starts at 9 p.m. Really good show. I'm always in the chat because I love to troll my friend. And then and there you go.
It's good time. Eric, Sunday night box office show, always the biggest. Appreciate it.
Put your picture on your avatar and at least your name.
I will upload it for the next visit here, and hopefully we have another divisive situation like we do here with Ant-Man 3. But I mean, listen, again, fun film. I enjoy it.
You got to come on the show on camera, though, dude. You've got like one of the coolest backgrounds.
I do have a cool background, but I tell you, I'm out. I'm not at the house, so I'm running around. But I wanted to get on here and defend my position, and then I got a bolt. But you guys rock, and good luck with the show. Thank you all for entertaining me for the past 15 minutes.
All right, take care, Eric. I'll see you next week at the movie.
See you guys. Be good.
All right, take care. Later.
Yeah.
All right. Erick Weber. Also, we don't agree, but to me, sometimes the conversation ends up being more interesting than the movie that we just saw. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's going to be the case with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, is that the conversation around it will be more interesting than the movie itself.
What Eric brings to the table is he understands box office. He understands why a movie will draw people and why a movie won't. And that's why I agree with him in the fact that this movie is going to make a lot of money over this weekend. I just don't agree that this was a fun movie. To me, Ant-Man 3 is fast food. And what we really want is the old days of fine dining that we got with Marvel Phase 1 and 2.
Well, at least more layers to it. My big problem with the movie is it's just sort of it's just the pointlessness of it.
Yeah.
The pointlessness. It was like, okay, so they defeated Kang, but and we're going to get into spoilers. So if anybody cares about spoilers,
I'll just say I completely understand why this movie will do great at the box office and why that audience score is 84%. They're wrong. But I understand why they're wrong.
and I, having seen it a second time, I was able to really look at like, well, what bugged me about the film? What bugged me about the film is that the rules of the universe weren't clearly explained. What's great about the first Ant-Man movie is you learn about, Pym particles, how they work. You learn about, what it's like to shrink small and what those rules are. You retain your human strength, but you're tiny. And I think what this movie needed at least a refresher of rules. Plus, they were introducing all sorts of new concepts. What were the rules? Where did all the people come from that are in the quantum realm? Are they all just refugees that got stuck there? Like what the world building that was necessary to actually explain what the stakes weren't explained. There's this sort of rebellion at the end, and they're rebelling because they're mad to take their city back. That Kang took the city and they're living in exile. And so they're just they got to rebel. And it just, I don't know, which tied into Cassie's story. Tied into Cassie's story because at the beginning she was at a peaceful protest where the cops were trying to get rid of a homeless encampment. Well, San Francisco, by the way, completely inaccurate representation of what San Francisco looks like. They only show the nice parts of San Francisco. San Francisco, and I will say this, downtown Los Angeles gets worse and worse. It's gotten worse in the last few months. I go into Los Angeles maybe once or twice a month for something, and man, it is bad and more encampments. There is
downtown LA is just ridden with tents.
It's gotten worse, and I don't expect it to get better. But so it's kind of a dishonest portrayal of San Francisco. But yeah, in terms of the ending, it's just sort of this moment. Now we're talking spoilers. The ending where Scott Lang, which was a kind of a cool bookend with the welcome back song, got welcome back at the beginning. There's a little welcome back at the end, and he's walking and he's just sort of realizing what Kang said, that he needed to get out to stop something. And he kind of has this realization, and the music gets kind of dark. Like he's realizing that he may have actually set off events that would end in, Earth suffering another attack, right? And he's sort of sitting here kind of like in his head thinking about, maybe I did a bad thing and I didn't save the world. And then he just sort of back to like not thinking about it too much. I will say I love Paul Rudd. He is the saving grace of the film for me because he's just likable, but he is comic relief side character. I don't think Paul Rudd has the gravitas to kind of care. That's why you need like a Steve Rogers or a, Robert Downey Jr., a grounding force.
Well, I mean, the first two Ant-Mans, with the heavy nature leading up to Infinity War, Ant-Man was that comic relief. And I think we needed it at that time. And even the box office reflected it. I think everyone knew it wasn't going to make as much money as the other ones, but they wanted to tell a light story. The problem is they're conflating it. There's no serious story anymore. Everything's got to be a comedy now in the Marvel movies. And I think that's the frustration we're feeling with it, because the comedy's not being done well, and the seriousness of these stories is not taken seriously, for that matter.
Well, there's a moment, and this is in the trailer, when he says, "Have I killed you before? Are you the one with the hammer?" And he basically ends up telling Scott Lang that he's killed Thor, and then he makes a joke about their physiques being similar.
Yeah, he's emasculating him at that point.
Yeah, it's weird, but that ending, okay, so it ends where basically you see there have been different versions of Kang in the comics, right? There's Rama Tut, which is like a version of Kang from ancient Egypt. There are other sort of futuristic versions of Kang. There's this sort of classic Kang that most people recognize in the sort of green and purple costume with the mask. There's that version of Kang, which I think is the one that most people associate with Kang. Well, the movie ends with them calling all the Kangs into a stadium because the one that was exiled was now defeated, right? So we're gonna gather all the Kangs. For what purpose? Who knows? But they're bringing all the Kangs together, And what was interesting was seeing not just different versions, like Jonathan Major in different outfits. There was like the classic comic book version of Kang where his face is kind of disfigured, like it's sort of a yellow face that's disfigured. So I didn't notice that before. There's just like, it's like this giant stadium filled with thousands of Kangs being brought to one place for purpose we don't know yet. And then, so that's the first story, or the first end credit scene. The second end credit scene is this presentation. It directly ties to Loki season 2, where you see Owen Wilson's character, you see Loki, and they're at some sort of old-timey presentation where some professor, which looks like Frederick Douglass, actually. They made Jonathan Majors Kang look like Frederick Douglass in a way. And he's I don't know. I couldn't read it. It goes by so quick.
I know. And do you even remember what he said, or the nature of what he said?
Talking about the nature of time. Talking about the nature of time.
Which is what he did in the Loki series.
Exactly.
And that's my point. Is, he needed to say something to get us excited about going into Loki at least. And he's just kind of iterating, that we're going to be dealing with throughout the Kang dynasty. And I will be absolutely honest with you. I hated it in the comic books, and I'm hating it now. I'm not into these stories. I never have been, and and I'm not seeing anything that's making me want to, making me excited about what's going to happen over the next several years.
Well, there's an article that came out recently about things are going to change at Marvel, that they're going to be doing fewer projects. They're dialing back. It sounds like the Echo series, the Agatha series, and the Riri Williams series are all on indefinite hold, which is basically a way that to say that they're canceled.
Yeah, there are only two small this year, Loki and Secret Invasion.
Yeah, so Loki and Secret Invasion are the only two series. It's just that the output is so much. I think that Bob Iger's like, okay, we can save money on these shows that people hate. If people are not liking these shows, let's not make them. So
no, I was just gonna say, as much as we like Guardians of the Galaxy, that was the movie that introduced humor to the MCU. And the problem was they should have just kept humor in outer space, and then kept all those Earth stories grounded. And instead, they're just yeah. Go ahead.
I just look. Humor, I think, is an element. It was an element, but it was not. It doesn't. It seems to dominate too much. I feel like they're sort of struck with their own. Like everything's got to be funny. Everything's got to be quippy and funny. It's like, sitcom writers in a room throwing things at the wall. Because
you're talking about She-Hulk.
Yes.